Okay, so the Seattle expansion draft. Now this was interesting. Um, I don't really know what Seattle's plan is after this. Some of their picks make complete sense. They made some good signings as well. I was surprised that they are $30 million free from the cap. So the $30 million away, and I wonder what kind of splash they're going to make. Um, I know they were saying that they wanted cap space, but with all the players available, I thought maybe they would change their direction. They didn't, and the big thing, I thought, okay, so at least they'll do some side deals, right? Pick these players and then make some trades. Doesn't seem like they're doing that either, so they're not going the Vegas route there. And I was like, okay, maybe they have all this cap because after the draft, they'll take on some bad contracts and get some picks as well. Turns out Arizona said, hold my beer. We got this. And they've done that instead. So yeah, let's just go over these picks. The team overall, in my opinion, doesn't look like they're not going to be the Vegas. But who knows? They might shock the world like Vegas did. But I see them bottom of the barrel. Oh, Shane Wright, hi, how are you? Oh, hi, Connor Bedard or Mishkov, how are you? That's what I think the mindset is. Anyway, Anaheim Ducks, they take Hayden Fleury. I like the pick. Tyler Pitlick from Arizona, they swap that. So that's their only pick, and then swap it for a draft pick. Jeremy Lauzon from Boston, good. I probably would have went Clifton, but Lauzon as well, good choice. Will Borgen, basically the only option from Buffalo. Mark Giordano, he finally gets drafted into the NHL. You get the defensive captain, and Seattle took a lot of defense. I thought they would take a lot of goalies. Instead, they went with a lot of defense in this. Morgan Geekie, they take him. They take the younger forward instead of Jake Bean. John Quinville from Chicago, okay. Not much there for Chicago anyway. Jonas Donskoy, if you're not going to go for Landeskog and try to sign him big, why not pick Jonas Donskoy? Great player at $3.9 million. From Columbus, Gavin Bayreuther. I'm not going to lie, never even heard of him. Dallas Stars, Jamie Oleksiak. So they pick him and then sign him to a big deal. Maybe a bit pricey, but okay. At least you got someone signed. Dennis Cholowski from Detroit. There was a lot of choices here from Detroit. They had like Svechnikov up front. You had like Stetcher on D. I like Cholowski there. Good choice. Adam Larson from Edmonton. So they take Edmonton's best defensive defenseman and they sign him 4 years. I think it was $4 million. He's got great WAR. He's a good pickup, to be honest with you. Great decision. Chris Drieger, they picked and signed him as well. I think it was a 3-year, 3 million or something like that. Good pick up there. Get Chris Drieger. He gets to be the number one goalie in Seattle. And we carry on here. So you got Curtis McDermott from LA. Might have went with Lizotte. Again, though, they're loading up on defense. Then Minnesota, instead of going Kalkinen, they went with Carson Soucy. I kind of understand it now based on who they drafted later on and the availability of different defensemen, etc. They get a good defenseman here, I think, at $2.75 million. Good pick from Minnesota. And we move on. Montreal Canadiens, they go with Cale Fleury. So get another Fleury. All Fleuries go in expansion drafts. They don't do it, and they don't go for Carey Price. Maybe they're wary of that injury that apparently now is only 10 to 12 weeks, and he'll be ready for the start of the regular season. I wish they had the balls to take Carey Price, mainly just because it's entertaining, isn't it? And to see Montreal Canadiens fans freak out. Nashville Predators, they take Cal Yarncroc. Great choice there. Best of the bunch. And cheap. He had better seasons, both Johansson and Duchesne, and at $2 million. And I think you can re-sign him for much less than that $8 million or $8.5 or whatever each of them have. Nathan Bastian, $825,000. All right. Get a winger. Jordan Eberle, great choice from the New York Islanders. Consistent. Good playoff player when they finally do get there. He's been there. He's done that. I love it. Colin Blackwell from New York. Team him and Gauthier. Good choice. Ottawa Senators. This is when they take the goalies. Instead of Kakinen, they took Joey Decord. Again, he can be your third string goalie, and he can work his way up through the team. Philadelphia, Carson Twarynski. I don't know much about him. I think on the Steve Dangle podcast, Steve Dangle chose him. I think he's done all right. I have to look it up. I haven't looked it up. This is just immediate reaction for me right now. But I think he's done all right points-wise. So sure, why not? And it's, saves you money. They didn't go with Voracek or JVR. They didn't want those big contracts. Pittsburgh Penguins, they took Brandon Tanev. Yeah, expensive at $3.5 million, but for what he brings and what he can bring to this team, I like it. Alexander True from San Jose Sharks, that's a head scratcher. His stats, his analytical stats, looking through it, look terrible. But okay, I would have went with Gabriel instead. St. Louis, they took Vince Dunn. So just like Philadelphia, they don't go for the big fish. Same with Montreal. They don't go for the big fish. They take Vince Dunn here, though. He can slot right into the top four. He's an RFA. You can sign him for a bit cheaper. And he can play both left side and right side. Tampa Bay Lightning, they take Yanni Gourde. This was like the main shoe-in. This is a guaranteed draft pick. $5 million. A guy who can play anything, any position, basically, anywhere in the lineup. He'll be in your top six, guaranteed top six. Probably your number one center, and I can't wait to see him flourish. From Toronto Maple Leafs, take Jared McCann. Jared McCann, third line center, can play second line center, can play the wing at 2.94. You're going to have to re-sign him in a little bit, but this is a good pickup here. And as a Leafs fan, I have to think of it as, okay, they only lost Hollander and a seventh, but damn, wouldn't it have been better to do a 7-3-1, kept McCann, kept Kerfoot, and then lost someone like Hall or Dermott? But I guess Leafs were looking at it as it's easier to replace a potential third line center. It's cheaper than trying to find a top four right-handed defenseman. That's the mindset. I think that's what Dubas said post expansion protected list. Vancouver Canucks, Cole Lind. This was basically the only pick. You're not going to take Braden Holtby. Washington Capitals, Vitek Vanacek. There you go. There's your number 2 goalie. And then Winnipeg Jets, Mason Appleton. Again, I like what Mason Appleton brings, and he got a depth player there. So that's Seattle's team, and yeah, I have no idea what direction they're going because they haven't taken on bad contracts or picks. So maybe they're just going to make a splash in free agency. Maybe. Let's see. I have no idea, but I'm excited to see what this team does. And lastly, those jerseys, that kit, I'm impressed. I like it. I like it. All right, expansion draft done. Let's go with the NHL 2021 draft, round 1. And here are my immediate reactions. First off, Owen Power at number 1 for Buffalo. Exactly what they need. Massive defenseman. And he can just step right in. If not, you can wait it out, let him stay in Michigan for a bit. You're rebuilding anyway. Let him develop. He's just going to grow into that body even more, become more comfortable, and he's going to make an immediate impact for Buffalo when he does join the team. Number 2, Matthew Beniers. Great pick by Seattle. They're in rebuild stage anyway. He might stay in the NCAA as well. You're developing. Why not? You're years away anyway. Great selection there at number 2. Number 3, Mason McTavish by the Anaheim Ducks. Good pick. I had either like him or Genther here. I felt that Anaheim needed a little bit more punch up front. They get it here with Mason McTavish, another centerman. Good pick. He had a great season. Number 4, Luke Hughes. Jack Hughes at the draft, I think, was more excited than Luke here. The Hughes brothers in New Jersey. I love the pick. I really do. Just exciting times for the Devils. Number 5, Columbus went with Kent Johnson. I thought here, oh, wow, William Eklund's available. You take him. But they go with Johnson, and I like the pick. At Johnson or Eklund here for Columbus. They get him. He's a good player. Again, Michigan. So that's 3 Michigan players in the top 5. Number 6, Detroit takes Simon Edvinsson. Big defender here. And all I can think of is, okay, him and Sider as your future on D. The Iser plan is going full steam ahead. I was thinking Wallstead here, but then obviously they had drafted Nedeljkovic at the time, and I was like, okay, Edvinsson, why not? Another defenseman. They got some forwards in the last draft. San Jose, William Eklund. This was a gimme pick here. You take him. They were saying he's probably the best or most NHL ready with how he plays, two-way winger. He can do it all. San Jose needed something like this, and they finally got it. LA took Brant Clark. I like this pick for them. I played with them on NHL 21, and they have a very, very thin D-corps here. Great pick. And then at number 9, Arizona. Remember, they forfeited their number 11. We'll get into my reactions to trades after, but they get this pick from the Vancouver Canucks, and they take Dylan Guenther. Great selection. Good season by him as well. At number 9, you got to love it for Arizona. Number 10, Ottawa took Tyler Boucher. I was a bit surprised here at number 10. I was. So it'll be interesting to see what comes to be of this player. Number 11, obviously forfeited. Number 12, Cole Sillinger. Columbus. Again, Columbus, good pick. Cole Sillinger at number 12. Him and Johnson. Columbus had a great draft. So we continue on. Calgary takes Matthew Coronado. I thought if Sillinger dropped to them, they would take him there. Matthew Coronado, I really like it. As you can see there, I thought he might drop and someone like Philadelphia would really go for Coronado. But Calgary, because Sillinger wasn't there, they picked him. I like that selection. And then 14 is Buffalo. Again, another trade. This one, that was a head scratcher a bit. Isaac Rosen there, right wing. I didn't have him at 14. I didn't even have him in the top 20, I don't think. But yeah, Buffalo takes him. Okay, so you got Owen Power on D, you got a winger. Number 15, Detroit takes a goaltender, Sebastian Casa. So it's not Wallstead, but it's Casa, who again had a great season. And he's looked really good. He looks like a future number 1 goalie. And if you think about what Yzerman said about the Yzer plan, where their goalies are a few years away, you get that trade for Nedeljkovic, and then you got Casa there to also develop in the next 3 to 5 years as well. Detroit had a great draft. Columbus had a good draft. Minnesota also had a great draft. We'll get to them shortly. New York Rangers take Brennan Othman. I like it. I do like that selection. 17, Bolduc goes to St. Louis. Good selection. Lucius drops to 18th. He was even talked about being in the top 10. He gets dropped to Winnipeg. And then Svechkov, so they went Russian, to the Nashville Predators. And then number 20, Jesper Wallstedt. So Minnesota shores up the goaltending there, goaltending future. Big Swede back there. Great pick. Lysell goes to Boston. Good selection. Borgo goes to Edmonton. Then Johnson goes to Dallas. Samechkevich, I think I said that right, goes to Florida. Kuhlmans goes to Columbus. I actually like this pick as well. Lambos is the next Minnesota pick at 26. I'm surprised he dropped so much. So Minnesota gets Wallstedt and Lambos in the 20s. Leroux goes to Nashville again. That was a trade. I believe they traded that to get the 27th pick. So Svechkov, Leroux. For Nashville, you got Olesen for Colorado at 28. Stillman goes to New Jersey at 29. Dean goes to Vegas at 30. And then Logan Mailloux goes 31st to Montreal, even though he asked and he requested not to be drafted in this year's draft. Now, if you haven't heard this, he's had some trouble. I think it was in Sweden when he was playing over there. I'm not going to go into details, but he's had some legal trouble, and it's probably something the NHL didn't want Montreal to do or anyone to draft. Remember last draft when, I forget which team, it was probably Buffalo. No, it wasn't Buffalo. It was Arizona. Selected that the one player, and he had the bullying and the abuse against him. And then they forfeited that pick. They rescinded the pick. Is that going to happen with Montreal as well? So he has, I believe it's a sexual assault case against him. And then number 32, Nolan Allen. So the big thing to come out of this first round, Owen Power went first, which many expected. Seattle took their first pick as a team with Matthew Beniers. The Hughes brothers reunited in New Jersey. Columbus had a good draft, getting Johnson, Sillinger, and Kuhlmans. Detroit continues. The Yzerplan continues with Edvinsson and Casa, so they get another goalie for the future. And then the Minnesota Wild, Bill Guerin has free reign, and he somehow pulls off Wallstead and Lambos. And then, of course, Montreal in their chaos, and it's like they're trying to undo all the success they've just done in the 2021 NHL playoffs. And that's first round. There's my winners, and there's my head scratchers, aka Montreal. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder what's going to happen round 2 and beyond. I'm guessing Shiprikov goes quite early in round 2. So we've got some trades to go over as well. Honestly, this offseason started with a bang. So let's go some trades and signings. First off, Taylor Hall signs 4 years, $6 million with the Boston Bruins. I like it. Taylor Hall gets at least a little bit of, he gets some years on it. He is, 29 now? $6 million might be a little bit steep if it was Buffalo Taylor Hall, but Boston Taylor Hall played really, really well. So him at $6 million playing on that team, well done, Boston, you dickheads. Mike Smith at 2 years, $2.2 million. I know he had a great season, but geez, Edmonton, what are you doing? Okay. Is he your number one? Are you going to trade for a goalie? What are you going to do? Maybe they are going to sign Freddie Anderson. Him and Hyman both go. And then obviously Edmonton has been talking about that sign and trade with Toronto. 8 years at rumored $5.5 million for Zach Hyman. It's just, they're just figuring out compensation for him. Detroit signs Michael Rasmussen, 3 years at $1.46 million. Cool. Wow. Okay. Well done, Stevie Y there as well. And then, of course, what do? Detroit also trades Alex Nedeljkovic. Or Detroit gets Alex Nedeljkovic for Jonathan Bernier and a 2021 third-round pick. What is Carolina thinking? Their next best goalie is signed for like $874,000. Bernier, a UFA, Mrazek, Reimer, who's going to be the goalie? What happens if they don't want to sign with them? I don't understand at all. Nedeljkovic's numbers this past year, I think his regular season was a 1.9 goals against average, and playoffs was like a 2.11 or something like that. What? And he had he's had great years in the AHL. Detroit fleeced them here, and even I think Stevie Y said, it was an interview, they said, how did you get him at this price? And he said you have to ask Carolina why they're comfortable with that trade. What, Carolina couldn't afford 3 by $3.5 million for Nedeljkovic? Oh wait, it wasn't even that. Nedeljkovic got 2 years at $3 million from the Detroit Red Wings. Wow. Well done. And then obviously Detroit traded the number 23, 48, and 38 to Dallas Stars for number 15 and picked up Casa, their future goaltender. So get Nedeljkovic there, and then you have Casa who develops and waits in the wings. Love it. And then we continue on. So you've got some interesting trades here. So obviously Pitlick, he went from Seattle to Calgary for a fourth. Looked like it was the only pick a player and then swap it for a pick by Seattle. And then, wow, what a day. So, obviously, Djokovic's trade. You've got Shane Gostisbehere going to the Arizona Coyotes and a second rounder in 2022 and a seventh rounder in 2022 for cap relief. It's like the old school trades where you would trade it for money. Instead, you're doing cap relief. Arizona doing what I thought Seattle would be doing. We carry on. You've got Rasmus Ristolainen going to Philadelphia from Buffalo for Robert Hagg, a 2021 first-round pick. Obviously, we've already talked about that from the draft. And a 2023 second. You get all that for Risto. And obviously, after seeing what happened for Seth Jones, I thought Philadelphia would be going for Jones. Makes sense that they go for Ristolainen, but with his analytics and everything, I am surprised that Philadelphia gave up this much. So now Philadelphia has two right-hand defensemen in Ellis and Ristolainen. Obviously, that Ellis trade was the previous one. We've already talked about it, where Glass went, Myers went, and Nolan Patrick went in that three-way trade with Philadelphia, Vegas, and Nashville. Philadelphia shoring up the defense there, and obviously have the cap relief to do it. Then you've got another massive trade, and you go with Vancouver and Arizona. And the rumors are true. Vancouver wanted OEL, and they got him. Plus, RFA, Connor Garland, who is awesome. What a trade there, getting him in it. They give up, Jay Beagle, which they need to get rid of, Louis Eriksson, which they need to get rid of, Antoine Roussel, which they need to get rid of. Only problem with that, all three of those guys are up after this year. OEL signed for another 6, I think, beginning now, 5 years after this year. Connor Garland, though, that's a good little throw-in. However, Vancouver needed to give up the 9th overall pick, which Arizona took Genther, 2022 second, and a 2023 7th rounder. Interesting. All right, they gave up quite a bit, but getting Garland, you got OEL there, who I think Arizona also retained 12% of his salary, so he'll be at about $7 million. I think Arizona retains like $960,000, $990,000 for the next whatever remaining of his 5-6 years left on the deal. OEL comes in. He gets to give Quinn Hughes a little bit of a break, a little bit less pressure on him, allow him to develop a little bit more, become that superstar, that stud that he is, and they get Connor Garland. I like the trade for both teams, to be honest with you. I really do like the trade for both teams. Vancouver need to get rid of those other contracts. They needed a defender. They got a defender, and they get Connor Garland in there. Arizona, they get a draft pick, obviously because they had to forfeit the other one for their whole little draft combine shenanigans they were trying to do. What else do we got? Seems like Sam Reinhart is Florida bound. Okay, Florida. God, they're going to be a good team, aren't they? Barkov, Huberdeau on great deals. Get Reinhart. You have Sam Bennett, who has found his new ways. You got Vetrano in there. You got Achari. Florida, if they can get rid of Bobrovsky's contract somehow and just go full-on Spencer Knight, God, they are going to be a little bit of a dynasty, in my opinion. And I can't wait to see them and Tampa battle it out. I can see them battling it out again, maybe this time in the Eastern Conference Finals. Then after that, you get Buchnevich going to St. Louis for Sammy Blais and a 2022 second. That surprised me. Like, Blais, 15 points is his career best. 2022 second makes sense. You need to throw that in there. But Buchnevich has, I think it was 45 points last year in a shortened season. He had 40-something points the year before. And the only thing I can think of is New York's gearing up to make a deal for Jack Eichel. They needed some extra picks, and Buchnevich is going to be going for $4-5 million, and they just couldn't afford that. That's my thinking there. St. Louis, you got the best player in the deal, and it looks like you've won this one. You've won this deal, but maybe this deal is necessary for what New York wants to do in the future. Again, they're also going to buy out D'Angelo's remaining 2 years, and I forget how much that is, like $660,000 or $800,000 per year. And then the last big trade, Seth Jones, the 31st overall pick and a 2022 sixth rounder, is now Chicago Blackhawks. That's what they get from Columbus for Adam Boqvist, who went 8th overall back in 2018, the 11th overall pick, so there's a pick swap there, the 31st and the 11th, that was the swap, 2022 first and a 2021 second, conditional that 2022 first. If it's a top 2 pick, then that becomes a 2023. Chicago gave up a lot for Seth Jones and then signed him for 8 years at $9.5 million. Holy crap. And he had a bad year this year. So yeah, Seth Jones at $9.5 million, especially after this bad year. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But GMs are getting weird. Getting weird. Carolina with their trade, head scratcher. Chicago gave up a lot, but hey, at least it wasn't DeBrincat and Doc, I guess. Philadelphia giving up all that for Ristolainen. Some teams are coming out great, big smiles. Other teams, I question what their plan is. Chicago's definitely not done after this. I'm guessing they're going to make some more trades. They got Seth Jones for 9 years now, 5.4 I believe this year, and then obviously the 9.5 kicks in. I hope he has a good year in Chicago. Let me just say that. Yeah, it's interesting. There's some great teams, and everyone's just gearing up for another big season. And that's it. That's my summary there for the trades and signings. I'm going to give big thumbs up to teams like the Detroit Red Wings and Florida Panthers, and I'm going to give question marks to teams like the Carolina Hurricanes and Chicago with that signing, and Philadelphia. I have no idea what's going on. No idea. But I can't wait. Next up, second round of the draft. Bring on free agency. Bring on more trades. Bring on the chaos. I love the NHL offseason. October, see you in a bit. Because that regular season is coming up fast. It definitely will. Huh, good times to be a hockey fan. Oh, and before we go, another trade. I forgot this one. It literally just happened as I was making this video. Voracek is gone. Back to Columbus. Heading back to Philly. Cam Atkinson. Straight up. Interesting. Philly. They're raring to go this offseason. Columbus doing the same. I'm loving it.